do me a favor and tell me your favorite tile placement game in the comments below. It does not have to be related to Harmonies. Mine probably, it's hard to say. I know a big one for me is Carcassonne. I just love Carcassonne. But it might be Diatoms. I don't know. All right, now we're going to talk about a game that I've played many, many, many times. I don't really get how huge it hit, but it is a good game for sure. And this game is Harmonies, a game by Lillibud for anyone. Like literally anyone like 5 years old and up. I would say like 8 and up can play this game effectively and have a shot at winning. So by the end of this video, you'll know whether or not Harmonies is a game you should have on your shelf. So let's talk about the creators of the game. This game was produced and published by Lillibud, and the designer is Johan Bienvenuto, I think it's pronounced. The overview of the game is you have a theme of building habitats for these animals. You're trying to invite them into your environment by the certain ways you place these tiles, which are actually rocks. They're pretty well produced rocks. You know, they have a solid wooden component to them. They have some nice screen printing on some of them. Some of them are just like one color, but that's perfectly fine. They look nice, which is what matters a lot in these kinds of games. The hook for this is it's a good tile placement game for anyone, or just a good game in general for anyone. They don't have to know board games. A lot of people play this game when they don't play any other board game, and those games are hard to find. This is effectively modern day Carcassonne, but with less difficulty understanding. And yeah, the audience of this game truly is anyone 8 and up, like 100%. The price of this game is $35, which isn't that much, all things considering. And if you look at these videos I'm about to show you, you can see just how well produced this game really is, with a good table presence, high production quality for the components, good box art, the cards have nice art. There's a lot of, it's all good. So $35 is actually not that bad. And consistently you can find on sale for like $28 to $30. Going into the details of this game, the details is that the game plays between 1 and 4 players, and it plays well at any player count. In my opinion, I think it plays best at 3, just because there's enough movement in the market without there being too much I want this and you want the same thing. We all just grab what we need. There's no player interaction like Quilts of Calico, where that's the only interaction you have. You have this public drafting location, and that if you want something, you'll grab it on your turn. The weight of the game is 2 out of 5. Again, it's not Uno whatsoever. You actually have to try. It's very difficult to win a lot of these games, and you have to do the best you possibly can with what you're given and what you have available to you, and with what you've already done, which is why it's 2 out of 5, because it's definitely skill-based, but it's not difficult. And then the length of the game is about 10 minutes per player. If you play with 2 people, the game will be over in 20, maybe 30 minutes if it's everyone's first time. If you play with 4 players, it could be like a 45-minute game for sure. It just all depends really on how many people are playing the game, and also how experienced they are. The look of the game, as we've been talking about, just look at these videos right here. It is a very well-produced game. Your player board looks nice. The cards look very nice. These little orange chits that you use for the cubes to track how many points you have, they look pretty good. You know, the wooden components look pretty dope, and then the coloring on it's pretty nice. That everything is good. You know, the box looks good. Everything is cohesive, consistent, and looks good. Definitely worth $40 in my opinion, whether it's from a big producer or not. So I would say that $35 is not a bad price point for this game whatsoever. Talking about the in-game details of this game, we have the setup time, which is truly 5 minutes. I suck at setting games, but even this one, I set the game as I teach it, and I'm done with both by like 5 minutes. It's very simple, very straightforward. So the teach as well is about 5 minutes, and that's very simple, not too complicated. They're gonna ask questions for sure, just because there are some, not edge cases, but there's some details that you have to double check with everyone just to make sure they understand how rivers work, how the mountain range works. They're going to forget halfway through the game, and you definitely want to remind them of some details. Like mountain ranges have to be next to other mountain ranges, which is just important to know. So it's about 5 minutes for teach, 5 minutes for setup. Very simple. For the mechanics, it's very straightforward. You have recipe fulfillment to get the animals into your habitat. You have tile placement to create your habitat for the animals. Then you have open drafting to get your habitat to put on your board. The game does feel like you're building an environment. You are drafting animals to add to your lineup to see like how many animals you want to have in your environment. Once you get all the animals from that card into your environment, you can grab a new card if you want. And it's cute. Like it doesn't feel like you're having animals necessarily. It feels like you're almost just putting things down and checking off a list. It doesn't really feel animals whatsoever. If they had animal meeples, maybe, would also be really redundant, because all these cards are different animals, and that's a lot of different meeples that you really don't need. It would just add a lot of convolution to this game that's not necessary. But it feels like you're building a little city, a little environment, and you're just like checking things off. Like, cool, that's done. That looks nice. I would think this game would make more sense as like a city building project more than it would be like an animal based game, if that makes sense. This game feels like it weirdly enough feels like Carcassonne. Not because you know you're not building on a public location. It's not a worker placement whatsoever, but it's a very accessible tile placement game, meaning that anyone can play it. You don't have to have experience with board games whatsoever. It's simple, it's streamlined. There are no complicated situations or questions you could have to answer. Again, I stand by the fact that any 8-year-old with a basic education, even in America, will be able to understand this game. So that it really just feels like Carcassonne. Probably some other games, but I can only think of Carcassonne. I like a few things about the game. I like the theme. I like building a habitat for animals. I like the difficulty of trying to have multiple of the exact same types of habitats in my environment without it, utilizing the exact same features, which is cool. If you don't know, whenever you score something, an animal to put into your habitats, that means you have to block off one pillar that was required to use it. So you have to find a way to replicate the patterns without utilizing the entirety of the pattern again, which is pretty cool. And you don't see it too often in games, so it's pretty challenging. Like it's successful. It's very satisfying. It's challenging. It's cute. Like that's all I have to really say about it. There's nothing I can say other than that about the game. What I dislike about this game, I don't know. It's not that I dislike anything necessarily about the game. I don't have any complaints. That's the thing. I don't have any like super high praises for this game. I also don't have any complaints about the game. The game is what it is. I think it's doing exactly what it wants to and what it's going for. So it's like 10 out of 10 in that respect. There's even like a small thing you can do to start the game with if you're an experienced player to give you an overarching goal for the entire game, which is pretty dope. So my final thoughts. When I purchased this game, the game's high quality. You can play with almost anyone, but I have a lot of games that I like that fit in that category, like Carcassonne, Azul, and a few others like King of Tokyo, River Valley Glassworks. I don't really need another game that does that in the price point, so I wouldn't buy this game. But if you're starting a collection and you're looking for something to fit that niche for people that you want to play games with that don't necessarily play games, this is a good game for that collection. So I wouldn't buy it, but you probably should, to be fully honest. Would I replay this game? I'm not looking forward to replaying the game next. I'm not like super excited about it, and I'll try to find a different game to play instead. I'd rather play something new for the first time than this game again. And you'll see why in my final ranking, but you know, it's a solid game. You know, I would play it again. I'm just not looking forward to it. And then in my final ranking, if you don't know, all the games I do before you buy videos on and some more are in my overall list of all the games I rank from game I like the most and want to play again the most, the game I like the least, and the game I want to replay the least. And I will say this much, it's very skewed, because out of these 113 games on my list right now, 80 of them are bangers. I only have like 30 games I don't like. So if it's not, as long as it's not in the bottom 80, you're good. So this game sits about 66 out of 113. It's right underneath Better Letters, and everyone knows I like Better Letters. And right above Logic and Lore, which if you don't know how I feel about that, go ahead and go into my Before You Buy video for Logic and Lore. You can also watch my Before You Buy video on Better Letters on this playlist and in my channel. But basically, you know, Better Letters, I like word-based games. It's a unique take on a word-based game. And then Logic and Lore is methodical, and I like it, but overall feels like I'm doing the same thing repeatedly with not too much of a guide for it. And I know it's very logic-based, but I wish I could ask more unique questions, but I understand why I'm limited on the questions I have to ask in what order. So this game's about 66 out of 113. I'll say that. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for, if you want support, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We have a Kickstarter coming out in February 2026 that we really need support for. So you can go in the comments or in the description to find a link to that right there. You can subscribe to watch more videos. Like this video if you enjoyed the video. Comment your favorite tile placement game. And I hope to see you on future videos. So peace out. Have a great day. God bless. And I hope to see you at the table soon.